Hello and welcome back. It's funny, I was just having a bit of a poke around whilst you guys were with me, just a thinking session, a bit of a brainstorming session, looking at prices and things to do, and I realised, like with any map and with anything, you've got to look at what is worth and what isn't worth. And let me just show you something. I think we may be changing. We are going to earn roughly, I might be slightly out by this, about 140 grand of money from that massive silage harvest we've done, right? But look at the price of silage, okay? At its very best, at the biogas, it's 150. Now, yes, we do earn quite a bit, probably about 500 and odd from the slurry yard for digestate. So that makes that up to 650 in total for everything. But look at manure, 500. And you would also get digestate, which then you could sell at the slurry yard. So on this map, looking at the way that things are tipped, I'm working my butt off to earn silage, which has, in comparison, not knocking this, we've worked very hard to do what we've done, and I nearly always do go the grass route because of the cutting. But on this map, I think we will be better to try to, I'm not trying to pull out completely of doing our grass and the silage and all the rest of it, but we'd be far better to buy cows that produce manure, because we know for the first year, especially coming this late in the season now, it's mid-autumn, we would miss the first, I think you've got to buy them in summer 3 or 4 to actually produce young at the right time. So I think we'd miss that, but we wouldn't miss them producing manure. That would happen almost instantly. If we bought, just looking at what we've got, our resources that we've got, if we sold, let's have a look, 95, 133, 80, and we've got 140 coming as well, we could section off a massive chunk of our field, or trying to think of flatness, we need a reasonably flat. This field is absolutely phenomenally flat. So if we are going to earn more money from animals, it would be better to repurpose field 14, maybe that section that juts out like that. We know we're going to chop the trees in winter, so if we put the cow yard, and imagine it takes that much of that field, and we keep that for cow pasture, and we just cut that amount of grass, and we sold those to make this happen, the amount of money we're going to earn off the manure would probably far outweigh the lost earnings from being a silage baron on this map. It's seasons and precision farming is all about, I don't mean, we've got to try and maximise the way that we earn money off this map. So we've got to box clever and work with this map and its assets, which looking at this seems to be more equipped for. We'd still need a slurry yard, because again we would literally take the manure to the biogas plants and grab the digestate and bring it to the slurry yard, so therefore maximising our profits. And we would get far more than we would from silage. We would need to produce 4 times the amount, or at least 3 times the amount of silage to the same amount of manure to actually make the same amount of money. So we're working 3 times as hard for the same bottom line. So a clever person would, now that we've got assets, we could take some of those assets and sell the fields back, especially initially, not talking about forever, but we could, if we sell this, we're going to make far more money far more quickly by going into animals as well. So if we maximise our profits, sell what we've got for now, we shall see. I mean, I'm going to go through this with you right now. My absolutely go-to mod for this is this particular one. I do like the basic pastures, but you don't get manure. That's or at least you never used to. Let me just have a look and see if you do anymore. No, you can't really tell, can you, from just doing that? No. But this one you do. It only has a maximum amount of 150 animals, but this is my absolutely go-to. The cattle pasture there. 150 cattle maximum. So you would only want to put 75 in to allow for expansion in year 2 for when they do actually have births. But 33,000, so we'd be aiming for roughly 70 odd cattle. But we need to make sure that we can feed them during the winter. I would buy in the total mixed ration. There's an absolute amazing mod, so we need 15 grand for the mod, and then we also, if we're going to go into cattle, we need a trailer, to at least one trailer, maybe 2 or 3. So again, we may have to, thinking about this, we could have 140 grand from the bales, but we still may need to sell a couple of our fields, maybe 3, maybe to get the maximum amount of cash back and just fall back to field 14, build the cow pasture in this section over here when we've used something like the tree maverick, although to be honest the animals will wander in that section even if we have got that there, and then during the winter literally grab the trees out to maximise it, because there's all this section that goes back into the trees right the way to this hedge where we can stick the, I can't show you now so I've not got the money, and I don't want to put money in and take money out because I'm a terror for putting money in. Oh, go on, let's have a go. It's silly. Right, what we're going to do is we are going to put, I'm going to do it with 33. I know I don't need that much. 33,000 so that we can put that mod in, and we're going to take that out in a minute because I cannot show you the position of this without putting the money in, so I'm going to do my best. Last time I did this on my last Let's Play, I forgot for two or 3 episodes to actually take the money back out. I did remember eventually, but right, yeah, so let's just imagine we are going right up to the edge of our fields and just try and poke those. Yeah, there we go, that's just through the edge there. And yeah, we would be losing right the way to that 4th, the corner post, almost, yeah, about 1/3 the way into that field we would be losing, which I know it's quite a chunk. But we've just worked out that grass is not as productive on this amount, not as, we are working exceptionally hard to produce 1/3 of the payback than we would be if we went for animals. So although we would lose that, we might need to cash in some of the hard work we've done. We would eventually be, obviously I think I've gone over this a few times, that if I carry on like this on hard, because of how hard it is on hard, and I'm earning 1/3 of the amount that I could do if I switched to animals for manure. I mean, obviously I'd like to go into cows in a big way with, say, something like the Lone Oaks cow husbandry, but that's 270,000, and then you've got your animals on top of that. We can't afford that. We aren't big enough to actually do that. So I'd sooner go for something modest like this in year 1. Put 60 to 70 cows in there, which probably 140 grand. Probably all of the money from the silage we would get from this, so we'd need to cash in a couple of our fields, maybe we might be able to keep 1, maybe the closest, 29 might be the most advisable one to keep, so these 2 fields. But then again, we might be better not to. We need to really going to weigh this up to see. That's actually in the river. Let's pull that across there somewhat. So that would be where we would be going, and that's how much of the field we would be losing. So again, we could still produce silage. We may even be able to make our own total mixed ration. We could do some hay, but then of course we need to store somewhere the things, and that's an additional cost. So that's why I'm thinking of buying in the total mixed ration and storing it in literally, there's going to be another cost to this. We've got the front loader, we know we can clean up with the bucket, so we've got that. We're definitely going to need at least a couple of trailers is the way that I normally do it. I normally store my straw in the trailer and keep dumping that each morning. It would be moving more into animals than we would into baling, because it's 3 times as lucrative, truthfully. So we'd be cashing in all of the hard work that we've done already this year to gain the fields, to sell the fields back, to gain the money back, to actually plough back into animals to earn 3 times the amount of money, so that we can get the most that we can still get even in year 1 from the manure, from the cows. And then obviously next year hopefully those are going to produce still more money than the silage itself would, especially as you start to build your cows up to. Now, I've done this before on other Let's Plays. As soon as you start to get your mature animals up to something like 77, it's amazing how much manure they produce when you've got that amount of cattle. So if we can try and get that, by the end of the first breeding cycle, you would fill that with 150. But that amount of manure produced each day would really seriously net us an awful lot of money to actually then either expand. I don't want obviously to just stick as grass cutting and making silage, especially if that's not as lucrative as going into other areas. I'd love to go into arable. I'd love to buy the proper farmyard, but bearing in mind we are playing on hard, we've got to box clever. I'll literally be on this Let's Play for 6 years to make any true progress, which might be quite torturous for those watching, whereas this will basically improve our chances of earning and definitely increase them 3-fold, to actually produce us a good amount of money even from this point onwards. Obviously I could have done this at the beginning, but you don't always look at the statistics and the figures. But now I have done. When I just had a little bit of a study, I sort of thought to myself, you've not really gone with the map, you've not thought things through. But we've made quite a lot of profit. We've bought fields which we can cash in to further this new direction for the farm, so that hopefully one day, it is a shame, I know, I realise that, but again, you've got to do things in stages. My plan was to be a silage baron, and then eventually to find the 700,000 to buy the main farmyard, to go into cows in a big way, because that's got 500, a yard for 500. The trouble is, to get 700 grand doing the silage baron way, I think would take us probably 3 or 4 seasons. If we do this as a halfway house, I'm not sure that we won't be in that yard this time next year, and that would be rather a coup. Definitely would be a absolutely fantastic jump from this to that in 1 year, and then we can move that yard I would imagine by that time that we can afford to do that, probably the end of next year, we'd be able to move our 150 cows, almost all fully mature, straight over into that yard and carry on with the expansion there, and sell this particular mod and move straight into there, and maybe even expand that to something like 250 for the cows into that one. Again, some of these figures are accurate and some of them aren't. I don't know, obviously that's pie in the sky about knowing how well we could expand into that. Even buying that 700,000 is going to be quite an accomplishment on hard. But I do think, truthfully speaking, it would be far clever of us to go this route. Hang on a minute, what's that? I'm just trying to look at that. Have I got that the best way? I don't think I have. I think I'm wasting too much of my field. Bear in mind, some of those trees are going to be gone. No, it doesn't seem to make much difference. We're still about the same in the field that way as we would be the other way. Don't want to be away. I'm just in the water there. Yeah, that would be it. Let's just pull it this way until we can see the green posts. Yeah, there we go. That would be that way. No, I do think that's slightly better. I think we're probably 30 or 40 yards not in the field as bad as we were the other way. I probably have it the other way around, where the feed is twizzled around. the other way. But yes, I think that is truthfully the plan of action. So whilst I remember, let's take that 33,000 back out, so we're where we should be. There we go. So that is, I think, the new direction for the farm. Thinking of all things, truthfully speaking, I seriously think we are flogging a dead horse, as the saying goes, as the old saying goes. If we carry on in the way we're going, we are absolutely busting our guts for a third of the. Obviously, we've got a lot of the things that we still need. We're not going to need any more vehicles. We've got the bucket for cleaning up the feed area. We are going to need a couple of trailers, at least a couple of trailers, maybe 3. And also the milling machine for cleaning out the manure to literally make. I know I could use the buckets, I truly could, but the milling machine makes it so much easier to hoover up the manure and put it straight into. We're going to need a manure wagon, which I've got my absolutely favourite modded trailer. That's 12 grand if we go second hand, and then we've got. Let's have a quick look. Let's try and top this up and work this project out. No good actually going off half. I won't continue with that saying. That's not right. That is what I would probably put my total mix ration in. That can be 25,000 capacity and works really well. It's fixed axle. Now this one is the one that I normally stick straw and hay and grass, which I only just put a little bit. Grass is the least amount that they need, so I put a bit of grass in, a bit of hay, but I usually keep hay in one of these, and for 4,450. Now you can actually block the bar on that one. Although it's a swivel axle, you can actually make it into a fixed axle sort of by blocking the drawbar on it. So that one for just under 9 grand we can get 2 of those. One to contain straw. Now they carry 44 tons of produce in, so they would store all that we would need. We would need a 15 grand mod, which I'll show you in a minute. So we need 2 of those, 1 of those, so that's 9, 17 odd, no, call it 8, yeah, 17 odd grand. And then my favourite for the manure, this one, the Venus, second hand is 12 grand, so that's nearly 30 grand. And then we would need 6 grand for the milling machine when I've painted it. I know it's wasting a grand, but I do like it in other colour. So 6 grand. So £36,000 we would need for the equipment increase to go into animals. 33 grand for the actual enclosure, so that's nearly 70 grand. Now we're going to get 140,000 even with the fields we've got now. Without cashing in any fields, we've got roughly 140 grand from the bales that we've got now. So let's take 70 grand. We've got 70,000 we could sink straight into animals straight away. And if we sold even one field, even one, the smallest one, the furthest one away, suppose, looking at this logically, the ones we've got closest to is a 15 and 29. So how much would we gain for that? Would be 133,000. So yeah, that would probably, without the need of only selling that one field, we would probably completely be able to sort out this entire project, which to me, we would then be making 3 times the amount. We've still got 2 fields, which we can, well, 3 fields or 2.5 fields that we can still be knocking slurry out, although that won't be till next year, because I do think that's the last cut. But this is another way of maximising profit through the winter, because cows will still produce manure through the winter, but the silage, that soon comes to an end, very soon. So I know it's a little bit out of the blue, but thinking and trying to box clever, I think now is the time to go with the map, to literally listen to seasons. This is what I've tried to say all along with this. People often, you've got to work with seasons. The seasons premise, you've got to look at the map, you've got to study what the map is telling you, and the map is telling us that we are going to get 3 times the amount for manure than we will do for silage. So why are we flogging ourselves to do silage? Now, we had to begin with. We had to earn something. You can't. I suppose we could have bought one field and gone straight into animals. That was an option, but again, I made a choice. Looking at the map, it was maybe the wrong choice, but then again, we've made an entire season's worth of money, which still we are going to have at least a couple of. Well, we're going to have 3 fields. Or 2.5 fields, because we are going to waste a section of our field 14, our original field, which is the flattest. So, all things considered, I'm listening to seasons, I'm listening to the map, and I'm going to go where the money is. And we're still going to have 3 of our 4 fields. I know we've got 5 technically, but 12 and 13, we will sell that one back. We may eventually in time, because I do like that field. It's right next door. Very convenient, but for now I think we're going to cash our chips in, sell that field, go into animals. During the winter we should cut back those trees to make that as good as possible for our cow yard, to make it more believable and realistic. Also maximise the fields that we have got, although if we're pulling out of 12 and 13, there's no point this year cutting back those trees that run along the bank there. But we will do all of this section, our original field, trim a little bit on field 29, 15, there's a couple of trees max that we would need to do. I'm sorry I've waffled on a little bit, but it was just had a bit of an epiphany, as the sort of saying goes on, as I started to look at the map and think about where am I going to go. I was looking and studying for the next field. I was looking on the map and I was thinking field 1, because it's, and I was thinking, oh my life, it's 198, but look how productive it is. I was thinking it's not going to be much worse than field 14, because it's really productive. That's minus 91, that is plus 116, so that's going to be far more productive, maybe even make up for the fact that this is a bigger field. I don't think it quite would, but I was thinking, wow, there's already so much work involved in every time we do a cut on all of our fields, every time we do all of our mowing, baler wrapping, liming, fertilising, weeding, herbicide. I thought it's just making it more and more, bigger and bigger, the rounds are bigger and bigger. And then when I did look at the statistics, I thought, yeah, but just look at manure. It just, and especially when you consider we're approaching winter, where truthfully speaking, we're not going to be earning 150. Even that, we are not going to earn that at all the way through winter. But if we switch now and we buy cows, I looked at the price of cows, which I'll just show you what I mean. Now I know that normally when you buy cows, if you buy on most maps, the best possible time is in 3-4 summer, which it is even on this map. You can see day 4 is a slight dip, but we're not talking an awful lot. I will be going for Holsteins for milk, although obviously right now it is higher. We're not talking an awful lot. We're not talking absolutely humongous amounts. So if we wait for the end of today, we literally cash in all of our chips, earn all of the money from that, sell fields 12 and 13, and we'll follow that thing, we'll follow the money, we'll be earning through winter by doing that, the quiet time of the year. So we'll be getting ready and powering up even through the winter, ready for next year, so that when we hit spring and we'll be cutting again, we'll literally already be earning all the way through winter. We'll be earning off we're going to maximise the amount of cows we've got, so that we're literally 77 odd cows in that, it would go as much into that, but bearing in mind we still need to keep some money aside for because those 2 solar panels are not going to power enough foods to all the way through winter to be feeding 77 animals. We definitely need to be having enough cash to tide us through the winter, so even if that meant selling one more field late on in the season I don't think we'll need to do that. I truly don't. I think if we sell 12 and 13, that 133,000 on top of the 140,000 that we're going to get from this will be enough to go into the cows, get the trailers we need, very modest trailers I might add, buy the cows to through the winter. Well, in fact, yeah, thinking about this, I think I'm overcomplicating this. The manure and the digestate produced from taking the manure to the biogas will more than propagate and more than feed the cows through the winter. It will even make profit. So yes, I think I'm actually overcomplicating things. I doubt very much we're going to need to cash in the chips quite as much as we need. I think we definitely need to sell a field, so 12 and 13. I think that 133,000 will turn this from being very tight to making it work. Then the 3 fields that we've got over winter will be doing nothing, obviously lying fallow, and we'll just work with the cows through the winter and carry on that way, and just cut those trees back to make this field into the maximum for next year's baling. But to be honest, I think our main concentration will be the cows. Might even go into a bit of arable, maybe, perhaps thinking further ahead, if we are coming out, if it's time to pull out of the silage and time to go into animals, we may well sell 15 and 29 and buy something like 16, an arable, and when cash in again to get some sowing equipment, and meanwhile be cashing in the manure so that we can plant with a modest planter. There are quite a few sort of small casters, 10 metre spread, that we could actually get a plough and a caster and go into arable, and then by the time we've done that and worked into the point where we would need to harvest the crop in say 16, that way we'll have pulled out of the silage, being silage barrens, which is my normal route, which it's worked well. It has made us, we have expanded enormously, but the money isn't there. Literally, with it being on hard, the money is not in that particular product on this map, or even on the base game. It isn't, to be honest. It's a decent way of multi-cropping in the first year to actually pull in enough money to expand and buy a few fields, but on hard this is much harder. So we definitely have got to, I think, change routes to that. And anyway, I'm not going to keep going on and on and on and on. I think I've made my points, and I think that is definitely the route that the farm will be taking. So watch this space. Thank you very much for listening to me waffle on. That is what we're going to do. So starting from the next recording session, we are going to sell these bales, maximise the profit, cash in that 140,000 ish that we should get from all of that, including the silage at the slurry yard, and then we will go into animals. So yes, thank you very much for putting up with me waffling and going on and on, and hopefully you'll be back to continue and watch this actually happen. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you'll be back again, and thanks and goodbye for now.